Good evening, everyone. My name is Megan Kujma, and I am a graduate student at Unity College, and I will be presenting as a consultant for the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation on the short-eared owl. They are a endangered species in New York State, but federally not listed. They are a species that is widespread throughout the just about every continent except for 2 continents in the world. Basic information: they are a young grassland habitat species. They prefer smaller grasses for nesting. They are ground nesters. They are nocturnal species who have been observed sometimes just before sunset and just after sunrise. They are a moderately migratory species. They tend to follow prey abundance, nesting requirements, and habitat needs. Their conservation status, as I said, they are federally not listed. They're of least concern. They are endangered or threatened in a few states, particularly out west and in New York State. Factors that cause them population declines are habitat loss, habitat fragmentation, human causes, and prey decline. Observation and management difficulty lies in the ability to observe species due to their nocturnal habits and their highly eruptive migratory habits. As I've previously stated, they are grassland habitats. Their food sources, microtein food sources such as rats, mice, voles. Sometimes they'll eat birds and other rodents. Some develop a habit of staying in locations a little bit longer than usual, depending on the prey abundance. Others become migratory for breeding or food. If the food source drops, then the birds will migrate out of the habitat. Population dynamics. This was a difficult one to do a study on because they are a species that's hard to observe. It's hard to accumulate any consecutive annual observations of the bird to get mortality rates or any accurate nesting, like successful nesting with the young. Current methods of observing are net dragging, tagging birds, roadside observations, and pellet surveys. There is inconsistent mortality data due to abandonment. Carrion crows and other predators will prey on nests, which makes it difficult to observe any live or active nests until it has been too late. Human-related issues. There have been issues with renewable energies, so like windmills and solar panels. Intense agriculture affects their habitat preference of young fields. Airfields, there have been numerous accounts of airplane strikes and vehicle collisions because they are a species that live on the ground. They fly close to the ground when hunting and mating. Development management strategies. So there are strategies that have in the past been not doable, such as utilizing drones. I think I would think that the use of drones would help discover more nests, inhabitable nests with use of infrared cameras. Trackers with longer lifespan I think would help, because previous trackers have been no more useful than 19 months, so there's very little consistent annual data that could be collected. Interstate collaboration, if states or even other countries where they're abundant or present in other countries, it would be useful with interstate or interagency collaboration when observing certain species, particularly ones that have been tagged, to increase stakeholder involvement, so encouraging stakeholders to mow their fields in later seasons or have more grassland habitats available with less structures present in the fields. So in conclusion, the species proves difficult to manage effectively, even more so difficult to observe. So observing with drones, like previously mentioned, would be very beneficial. Being able to use those versus dragging, which could damage nests or even birds with dragging nets. Develop, utilize new technology with the drones attaching infrared cameras, maybe higher up with a better camera lens to zero in onto a site. Interstate and interagency collaboration would help in observing species that birds that cross boundaries, and make it difficult to continue observing annual and migratory habits. This would also mitigate reduce the difficulties due to eruptive migratory behavior. Develop ways to make renewable energies less detrimental, so maybe some kind of noise or lights attached to windmills, to planes, increasing air guns, so like they do with geese on airfields, would reduce the occurrence of strikes from owls, and encouraging stakeholder involvement would be largely beneficial, since most lands are privately owned where owls are inhabiting. It would increase the chances of stakeholders and agencies to observe and monitor the short-eared owl, and make it easier to have annual data to find an effective way to manage and conserve the species. That is the conclusion. I hope you all enjoyed this. Thank you and have a good night.